I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And welcome to
There's Something Wrong with the Elizabeths.
That was our 10th viewing, which is exciting because we have now we're about to surpass where we were with Lady in the Water and Showgirls. And to help us celebrate, we have returning guest Caitlin.
Yay!
And brand new guest Alex.
Yay!
Alex, this was your first time. What are your thoughts on the movie? What are your thoughts on this bizarre tradition?
So I love the tradition. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad to only be here for one of the viewings. You guys are
You're
the
not
true
an
heroes. Yeah. And as for the movie, it was terrible. It was really quite terrible.
So I actually thought the movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I had no idea what to expect. Didn't even cross my mind that they would be living in a phone, though granted I didn't really think about it much. Not much thought crossed my mind about this movie. But I did think that it might just be like Emoji living in the real world. And that was or like their version of the real world.
I will say,
like an emoji version of New York
like,
City
like
or something.
Cars or something.
Yes.
They're just like
Exactly.
They're just like there.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the great things about, especially this late in, we've never had guests on the 10th viewing. You know, because it's always been at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
One of the great things about having guests this late is
Which
you
it is 2:34 a.m.
Yes, you introduce ideas that would never have occurred to us. And when he exited the text out, she said, "Is he going into the real world?" I was just like Roger Rabbit. But honestly, I want to apologize for my derision in that moment because that was great. And that was bringing us something fresh. What if Jean showed up in the real world? That was wonderful.
I didn't know where the movie was going.
Yeah. And I long for those days.
We didn't know what was gonna happen.
I know exactly.
Although that montage scene comes out of nowhere every time. Every time I'm like,
Neither of us is kidding when we say we actually forget that montage scene exists.
Because why would you do that?
We just watched the movie.
Yeah, why would you show it to us again?
It's not like a TV show where you have a clip show to sort of remind people. No.
We were just there. It just happened.
I will also say I really enjoyed after there's a giant, the very first horrible thing that happens, the finger wrecks all the boxes. There's, horrible, chaos and devastation. And this leads to Jean being sentenced to death. Caitlin said, "Oh no, what a pickle." And that just tickled me. I'm so glad you guys came.
I would like to point out that my favorite part of the whole movie, I think made it worth watching the whole movie, was that the old emoji joke.
Oh, at the very beginning.
The emoticons. Was that your emoji pop?
Oh, yeah.
Is we're calling the emoji
Sure,
pop.
Absolutely, it was that joke.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that joke.
Alex, what's something you enjoyed? What's your emoji pop?
Boy. Alright. I liked that the shit emoji was voiced by Patrick Stewart because it gave a very haughty vibe. Like the shit emoji looked down on people making shit jokes and also just generally everyone else, which makes it kind of seem like it's the best one. So yeah, that'll be my putting Sir Patrick Stewart as the shit emoji, I think, is the peak
It's
thing.
a good move.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else could have delivered the line, "Aim higher, Steve." You did. It's really good. Lizzie, what's your emoji pop?
Okay, my emoji pop. It's gonna be a little controversial.
Oh.
So I've read a little bit about the movie. I'd already watched it once, but then before we were gonna do this thing, I read a little bit of a few reviews and stuff, and I kept seeing a lot of criticism for the fact that they go through a lot of trouble before Jailbreak summons the bird by whistling. And people are
that's
you
true.
could have just gotten that bird all along.
Yeah.
Kind of like the eagles in The Hobbit. Is that what?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. But my thing with her with the bird, because I kept seeing a lot of criticism for that as being like a big plot hole, and to me, that's like dedication. Because she's really ashamed of this whole bird thing.
True.
It
that
is
she's a princess.
Point. Yeah, she's like, she's upset about the stereotype, and she like threatens that high five and like all this stuff. And so to me, it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know, like I like that it wasn't just a plot hole. Like she says multiple times, like, no, I can't, no, that's a stereotype, that's stupid, and then she can do it. But it's like, she's clearly, this is her personal shame, and I don't know, it's consistent. I think it's consistent. I think the internet's wrong on that. So I thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like I should say, because in the last video I said that we saw the stop, it's hammer time, and I never mentioned that at one point shit does hit the fan. I feel like we noticed that in like the third viewing, and I never said anything because I don't really think it's clever, but I've been looking for something clever ever since then.
I didn't notice any of those.
And
well, if you would
want
like
it
to
now,
watch another couple times, we're gonna keep going. Okay.
No, I didn't even expect to make it through a whole one and a whole one.
What about you? What was your emoji pop?
My emoji pop is one that's been around for a while. Honestly, a big part of my emoji pop is just your opinions of it, because it is so refreshing to get other people's. But I really like when Smiler she does like a couple spit takes, and it's really great. She does like spit take where like she's gonna gargle Listerine. Guy over here says something bad. She does spit take on him. And then she's like, no, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. She goes to gargle Listerine again. He says something bad. She does spit take on him again. And then she's like, I'm sure it's gonna be great. It's all gonna be fine. And she like pours another cup of Listerine, and this time she holds it. And when he says something bad, she just punches him with the cup of Listerine. And it works for me.
Yeah, it's a nice little comedic.
I wish, it has the same problem that every other joke in this movie does, that it makes me say that's funny instead of laughing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever made me laugh out loud, but it is humorous. By definition.
Is humorous, and it is one of my top 3 Emoji Movie jokes.
So sad.
Pardon?
I know. I was just thinking if there were any I didn't see. I said I didn't see 100, but there was 100.
Yeah. There was a point that I got really upset. So Elizabeth said to me last viewing or before this viewing about the Candy Crush game that you said she doesn't do the Candy Crush.
First one.
Yeah, she doesn't do the first one. It just happens. And you were like, how does that happen? And I was like, she does it. And you were like,
no, she doesn't.
You were like, she does it? Like, you see her do it? And I was like, yes.
And it's late, and I've known Lizzie a long time, so I'm like, it's one of two things. Either I'm wrong and I'm going to be proven wrong, so I shouldn't push back, or she's very tired and she truly believes this, and I'm not going to push back.
There was that other time with the thing where high five is like, catch me, Gene, catch me.
That I totally
and
had
then he
the
drops and he
wrong.
says, thank you. And you were like, that doesn't happen. And I was like, it does happen, Elizabeth.
But I completely had the timing wrong.
Yeah.
I thought it happened way after it does. And so I was 100%.
Well, that was a joke that the directors were really proud of, and they talked about it in the director's cut, and Elizabeth was like, that doesn't happen. And I was like, no, it does. So anyways, I
maybe next showing you should just both gaslight each other.
Right? Like,
gas lamping.
I corrected you, and I took this movie's side over you, and I felt so bad. You don't deserve that.
Our friendship. Hey, Lizzie. What's the point of being number one if there are no other numbers?
It's so wise. It's so deep.
I'm also confused of who's number one in this scenario.
Well, Elizabeth is the Elizabeth of Elizabeth.
Oh yeah. Was that Veronica?
My sister.
Her sister called me the Elizabeth's Elizabeth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I
go by Lizzie and Liz. It depends on the. I go by a lot of different names, and you go by only the one.
Only Elizabeth or Sir.
But you always introduce yourself as Elizabeth, right?
Yeah, I do, because that's my name.
Right.
I don't really believe in
introducing
a nickname.
Sure.
See, I disagree because I always introduce myself as Elizabeth, and people say Liz, and I'm like, if I wanted you to call me Liz, I would introduce myself as Liz.
I think it's really interesting when other people assign you a name. I think it says more about them, or even like who you are to them. I always think it's interesting. So like I'm always curious to know, and I just let it happen.
Oh, it makes me want to punch people in the face.
Well, you know.
So
Although we are both Elizabeths, we're also different in some ways.
Ebony. All right, so before we let you guys go, we'd like to play a little game called. So this. Do you want to guess what rating this has on Rotten Tomatoes? Before I get into this, I want to guess.
27.
27.
That's high. That is so high. I want to guess like 12%.
6.
Yeah.
This is a 6.
I thought it might be single digits, but then
What was Showgirls? Showgirls was like
Showgirls was like
16.
no. Showgirls was in the 30s.
Yeah.
And Lady in the Water was in the 20s. It's
Yeah,
the lowest
like,
we've ever
yeah.
done. But so critics hated this. So I have a little game called "Is this a quote from an emoji critic, or is this from the Unabomber?"
Amazing.
Okay.
Great. I love where this is going.
Most art forms that appeal to modern intellectuals tend to focus on sordidness, defeat, and despair. Is that a critic or the
I
Unabomber?
think that's the Unabomber.
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, that feels like a Unabomber.
That is Unabomber. Okay. They whine about the decay of traditional values, yet enthusiastically support technological progress. Currently, it doesn't occur to them that you can't make rapid, drastic changes to technology without causing rapid changes in all other aspects of life as well.
I mean, that feels like the Unabomber too.
Emoji Movie. I think.
That is Unabomber as well.
I thought that it was gonna be like a trick, but I was like, no.
You know, this might be too easy, but I feel like it's a good one to go out on. One wishes it could be erased from existence, but for now, let's hope that the burning wreckage acts as a warning to never ever do this again.
Emoji Movie.
That's
Yeah.
the Emoji Movie.
Emoji
for sure, yeah.
Movie! And before we close out this video, to celebrate going into the 11th, we're going to crack open some Emotica branded vodka.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, mine is the emoji.
Mine's keeping a secret.
All right, Lizzie, we are about to break our record and go into the 11th viewing. Woo!
Yay.
Yay.
That's not a flavored vodka at all.
Oh,
it's just straight vodka.
And it's not good vodka.
But it'll help us get through the 11th viewing.
It will.
Woo!